The Diesel Performance Podcast contains explicit language.
A lot of people didn't think a two-wheel drive truck was going to be able to launch or get the 60-foot times to make any good times for the quarter-mile track. They thought the leaf springs weren't going to do it, and they're probably right. Leaf springs probably can't do it. That's why we went and did a custom four-link that Top Notch did, own a Top Notch Auto, did an incredible job doing a four-link on this thing. I've hardly had to adjust it. It goes straight every time with 150 60-foot times. I like the short bed. It's like driving a go-kart around, driving on the street. You know, it's great.
For daily driving?
Yes. All summer long, I'll drive it. Even if it's raining out, I'll still drive it sometimes. If it's just a slight chance it's going to rain, I don't care. It's a driver. I do drive it. I got 10,000 miles on the truck since we built it. Nick's done a great job tuning this thing. It runs great. It just goes. You know, it's never had an issue, never had a tuning issue. I talked to him saying, hey, can we turn this thing up, see what we can do with it? And he goes, it's conservative, what it is, nothing's gonna break, shouldn't break. If I want to push the limits, you can, but things can start breaking. I said, okay, we're good. We did the 9s, we're good.
We have it dialed in great. It lives, it doesn't break stuff. Why do we want to mess with that? You know, how many guys have a 9-second, 140-mile-an-hour truck that they can drive on the street 4 months out of the year? So it's just the reliability at this power level is really impressive to me. It's actually it's lasted longer than I thought it would. So the goal was a drivable truck that could dip into the 9s, and we knew that from the outset. So we wanted to really put a drivable package together, and that's where the stealth compound setup came together. It responds great, transient, drives nice on the street, has really good throttle response, keeps the smoke down. The truck has 250% over injectors, and you really wouldn't know it driving it. It's very, very tame, very smoke-free on the street and on the track as well. The rest of the setup, you know, it pushes the bleeding edge, but it does it in a way that's strategic.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us again. I'm Paul Wilson.
And I'm Chris Emhke.
And you're watching the Diesel Performance Podcast Ride Along.
I like how you did that.
We're really excited today. We got Bret Kehl's truck from Precision Body Works over in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It's a regular cab, short bed, 1,100, 1,200 horsepower, twin turbo, bad motherfucker is what it comes down to.
LB7, Exergy, 250% overs. It runs one of our Stealth 67.7 over a
Precision 110?
110, something like that.
I believe it was the 110 on this.
So Duramax tuner provided the turbo specking of that. It has a Whirly custom turbo kit.
Absolutely. Quick shout out, by the way, Whirly, WC Fab, one of the sponsors of the show. Definitely download the audio version of this podcast. You can hear a little bit more about the traction bars that they're really proud of. Excellent product. We strongly recommend them. Same with Exergy, has a do's and don'ts section we're doing in the audio version of this podcast. Definitely download that so you can hear a little bit more of Exergy's kind of sharing of knowledge about do's and don'ts with your CP3s. And of course, those products and so many countless more are available with Alligator Performance. Always check those guys out. They're a sponsor of the show and a great group of guys to work with. For today, this video, I gotta say, I am insanely excited. I've been talking about it all week. We watched this truck run 994 at Byron Dragway last weekend. 140 miles an hour through the trap, several different passes, so we backed it up. A few notes, I think we'll get out of the way right away. There is half a roll cage, so we are legal.
Above and behind us.
Above and behind, so we do got the bars. So we are legit to go to the track. Bret was driving in the video with one hand. That's because he was holding on to the alley locker.
And he's a man.
And he's a man, yeah. So that just answers some of the quick questions we had right away for some of the guys out there. Other than that, what I'm amazed by is we've been in this truck for about 5 minutes now. You wouldn't really know that it's a 4-link suspension underneath. You wouldn't really know that it's 1,200 horsepower. You might not even know that it's twin turbo just cruising this thing at 60 miles an hour.
I mean, that's one of the things that, you know, Bret had an idea that he wanted to build a quote-unquote drag truck, but the truck is only going to be at the track so much. So he wanted to make a streetable, somewhat reliable fun driving truck. That was the end-all be-all for
Yeah.
him.
It nailed it.
Nailed it, yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, him and Nick, the owner of Duramax Tuner, they're very close. They have a close relationship outside of business. And they kind of came together and they're like, hey, you know what? This is what I want to build, Nick. And Nick's like, all right, let's go to town. Let's do some homework. Let's make it happen. And we're driving that.
Yeah.
So
it's always fun to get involved with Bret on projects. Of course, he was a big part of all of the body work going into the Apache Max build.
the
and
Scottsdale,
some of the touch-ups
yep.
on the Scottsdale. That one was pretty clean when we got it, but still needed a little love from Bret.
Yep.
When you see this truck, it looks like it came from the factory as a regular cab short bed.
Definitely.
Like it
With
looks
four link.
so, with four link,
like, for sure.
It looks so clean. It looks so fitting. Now, obviously, if you caught the video at the track, he had a different hood on it than what we have today. He had the hood stack in here.
He had a donut for the intake with no passenger side headlight. Like, again, that's Trek trim, I would say.
Yeah.
You
Also,
know,
the big wrinkles on it.
Yeah.
So
when
the
he's-
big
when
radials.
When the truck's on the street, it has a full, you know, air filter on it, passenger side headlight. It has a really nice cowl hood and a 4-inch exhaust coming off of the secondary turbo all the way back.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, it's amazing street manners, and I think as a part of this video, you'll also hear Nick and Bret talking a little bit about that. Bret drives this thing when it rains. He drives this thing every day. Like, this is not a trailer queen by any stretch of the imagination.
it's so funny because, like, I have to drive to and from work, and I pass Bret's shop, and you'll see a rainy day, the truck's sitting out there, and he's like, yeah, I drove it. He goes, it gets 15, 16 miles to the gallon. He's like, you know, I don't care.
It's fun.
It's awesome.
It's fun. It's a little loose in the rain. I'll tell you right now, that was one of the other big questions was, can this truck hook up? Or can this truck hook up? Can this truck actually hook up on the street? We're going to go test that right now. So we have the regular street tires on it. It's probably 35, 40 degrees outside today. We have not prepped the tires or prepped the road or anything nuts like that. This is literally just us. We jumped in it, fired it up, let it idle for a minute, and took it out for a spin. So, Chris, why don't you take this next right here, same as we did in the Scottsdale. We'll see what this thing can do.
Probably shouldn't say this, but I think this camera's dead. The red light's not blinking, and there is no more time running. It's staying at 14:34. So. Thanks, producer Radio Rich.
Easy. Woo! That thing is rowdy.
Guys, you want to keep in mind something. The truck does do really well on the street. However, it is a 37-degree day. We are on a cold pavement, cold street tire right now. Considering we're in like an 800-horse tune and literally stabbed it from 10 miles an hour, it did well.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely felt it get squirrely a little bit there, just for a second as it kind of comes back into the power band or comes out of that peak power band. But man, this thing, it throws you. It throws you into the seat.
And I want to talk a little bit about the turbocharger and what makes it capable to make this type of power. So there's a lot of different ways to make power on different turbo applications. This is a really streetable setup. It's quick to get into its power band. It's quick to get up into boost. You don't have that nuisance of lag down low. You don't have that delay to where you have to tread lightly on driving the truck with low throttle inputs without smoking out an intersection. Like, the truck has very tame street manners.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Why don't you try hitting the button on that thing again, see if it'll kick
This
back
one?
on. I don't know. Going on top, maybe?
I don't know. Radio Rich did not do us good. So let's go through the build a little bit here. You know, let's start from the foundation. Again, LB7 Duramax, fully built bottom end. You know, stock heads. I don't know. I'm not sure on the cam, guys, to be honest with you.
Well, it's got an alternate firing order cam.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. This is right when we started doing those.
Okay, the alternate.
So, yeah, so
firing
this
cams.
runs the alternate firing order cam, the big twin kit. It's also kind of interesting. This was not a 1500 short bed with a Duramax stuffed into it.
No, it's funny because he actually bought like a service bed truck that had an ugly brown box on it.
It was awful.
And the truck sat in front of his shop for like a year and a half, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing with this thing? He's like, don't you wait. You know, don't you worry. Just wait, see what happens. And well, we're driving the product, like I said, of that, so it's really cool.
So yeah, I assume 2.5 feet or so taken out of the frame to be able to fit the bed. even the bed itself, he had to hunt down and find the right bed and paint it and all of that. Brett obviously does a lot of paint work and body work, so that wasn't too hard for him. Some of the other stuff you don't really think about is like he still has a full interior, and we still have the full stock seats, we still have a normal dash, and then when Chris hits the throttle, you just have this amazing screaming of the turbos
And that
going
was half
on.
throttle, I just want to say.
While you can feel the exhaust rumbling at your feet, like literally the turbos screaming in your ear and whistling while the exhaust is rumbling at your toes.
And there's a bubble nose LB7 behind us. I just want to point out, and he's trying to get up to us, right? Like, this truck is effortless to say the least. It gets into its power band. It just wants to go.
Yeah.
What I love about this truck, the last time I drove it, is the 4-link setup. This truck wants to destroy the pavement. It feels like the pavement's getting ripped apart. Like, this thing just digs and just wants to move forward. It really is a feeling you have to experience for yourself.
Absolutely. No, it is wild, man. It's got that grab and go for sure. It doesn't feel super stiff. You know, you're not bouncing all over inside the cab here. You can see, like, we can still have a normal conversation, and, you know, our eyes aren't cross-eyed after getting out of it, which...
I mean, we are for the right reasons.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, even some of the basics, like the heat still works to some extent. You know, it's not freezing in here. It's an LB7, right? The heat was never great in your LB7, but it is wild because, like we keep saying, is like twin kits always feel like they have this constant pull. You know, like pretty much stocker S475 or, you know, a big 67 110 kit. It really doesn't matter. Once you get up and get your turbos moving, a twin kit feels like you could run for 100 miles and always keep accelerating.
Just screaming. I just want to point out too, you know, the size of the injector, considering how well it does drive. Like, again, it's not even 40 degrees out, guys. It's cool.
Yeah, it used to be with 250% injectors. We tell guys, like, that's a competition-only injector. You know, you really are going to be in a race truck. Yeah.
You know, years ago, I know we're going to get critiqued for saying that, but anyone, think about it, go back to the roots, man. 100 overs were
there was a time. There was a time when that was real, and that was the limit. Now as tuning is advanced, and parts have advanced, and technology and mapping and all of that is advanced, it's really something that we can make it streetable. Nick has put a lot of time into dynoing this. I know he doesn't really talk about like how many hours go into a single truck like this, where it was one of the first builds that had all of these things combined together. But it was at our shop for a while, man. It took a while to dial it in.
This was one of the test turbos. We didn't know what it was going to do in this setup. This was the first 67.7 precision setup.
Well, actually, and I remember we were going to get the standard S591 and go with an S591, but they were 3 months on back order at the time. And for the same price, we could get a precision 110. It wasn't that journal bearing or ball bearing or billet wheel or cast wheel, any of the other things.
Or the actual size. I mean, I know this was a little bit bigger, but
that was not the
motivator.
Factor. Yeah, no, this was about availability at the time. We had to get the job done.
Nick, I got to run 9s. What the fuck? Let's do this. Because this truck's had multiple kits. This had a stocker 75, a Stealth 64 Generation 1 over an S480, and then it went into this. So he's had a couple kits on here.
Then he jumped to the big boy kit.
Big boy kit. Little truck, big boy, we'll call it the Chode, all right? I like it.
We're obviously out in farm country, guys, so bear with us as we get stuck behind.
Harvest is amongst us.
He's out doing tillage. Yeah, he's a little bit past. But yeah. At any rate, they're out ripping. So as soon as Fruins let us get around them here, we'll get out and put some tire down on the pavement. What a gentleman.
Yeah, he's a good
pulling
guy.
off to the side for us.
I'm pretty sure we tuned this tractor too.
I know we tuned this tractor.
He was just stopping for the semi because he's on his dime. All right, like, hey, I got you.
Go on now. Peek out there, Chris. Oh. That is the 9620 we tuned. Great tractor.
We do ag tuning, guys. Combines, sprayers, tractors, you name it. All right, I'm done with that.
Let's hook a ride here.
I guess you're going to want to drive this thing.
Yeah, I figured we'll go down and let you start heading back, and I'll drive her back. Go ahead, get on it, Chris. Let's see what it can do.
All right. So I'm quarter throttle, half throttle, full throttle. 100 miles an hour, like that. You guys will hear in the video, the tires broke loose for a split second. I did not let off the throttle the truck corrected and dug.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have even pavement here. There's some cracks in the road, so I'm gonna make that the reason as to why that did that.
Yeah, I mean, a good chirp out of them, I'm really not too worried about either. Running a no defuel tune with this much horsepower, you know, it'll happen.
And this transmission just shifts like a dream too.
It really does. Can we just say how smooth this is? We've gotten into things like the Scottsdale where it felt like a sledgehammer. Well, I don't want to say a sledgehammer hit. It felt aggressive.
Yeah, Nick ironed that out. He's
Yeah.
like, dude, I got you. He was like, there was some quirks. We got it ironed out.
Yep.
He was not expecting us to take the truck on that day.
Right.
Like, that was our day, right? So we're going to pull over up here. Paul and I are going to swap seats.
Turn here.
Yeah.
Take the opposite.
Oh, right on the rocks, too. Just do it.
Don't worry, we know a good body guy. We know a body guy. All right, guys, Paul in the driver's seat. Look out. You literally, there is never a time in this truck that you are on the road and need to be above about 20% throttle.
I'd say 30-35% if you need to get away from someone. Like I said, this truck is really responsive.
It's so crazy. It lights so quick. We've gotten into a bunch of big turbo trucks. And like Chris, I think you and I are both on that same page of like, we really, really like quick spooling. We really like that stock style low end power, right?
I
to where
feel
it comes
like
on fast.
I can talk about myself here. My first diesel, it was a big turbo. I really liked the delay, and then when it hit, man, it was hold the hell on. And then you start to realize like that's not efficient. So it's making power for a broader RPM window. That's going to be the fastest vehicle possible, and that's what this is.
From a roll, from a standstill, you get a quick puff of smoke out the back, and then
Clears right up.
it just clears up immediately. It is absolutely phenomenal to just putz around in this thing, you know?
I mean, we're talking 1,000+ horsepower truck that runs consistent 9-second quarter miles and gets mid-teens fuel economy wise. Like, find me a car that does that.
And that's also with Bret driving it. Have you seen Bret driving around town?
Aggressive. He's aggressive.
Aggressive.
Like, I want to take this thing rallying. This thing would be sick. Or road racing. Like this thing's light enough and it's low to the ground.
I'll tell you this right now. I just touched the brakes for the first time there, guys. They don't feel like there's a ton of grab in the brakes.
No.
And I'm not knocking the truck or the build. It's a stock brake setup, right? But
I mean,
little things like that.
The factory didn't design it to do this.
No, exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. Little things like that, like they're not accounted for when we talk about how badass this truck is. We do want it to stop, and it stops fine. I'm going through some S curves now, and I can putz around. I can stay light on the throttle, and I can just move it through.
It hugs the roads.
No, it does.
Road race truck.
The steering in it, like there's not like a ton of play
This
or
is not,
something.
for an LB7, like, you know, nowadays LB7s are playing almost next in line to like an old school Cummins. You know? This thing's nice and tight. I would go 140 in this thing.
Yeah, at the strip with a helmet on, I would do 140 in this thing. But
you a window licker? Basically, Paul wants to wear a helmet in here right now.
I'm telling you, man. I don't know if it's since I had a kid that I just grew a giant pussy, but it is a different sensation when you go to stand on this thing compared to when you're in the passenger seat and somebody stands on this thing. Like, I might tell you easy as I see you edging towards the gravel on the side of the road, but I trust you driving it, right?
Yeah.
Me driving it, I'm like, well, I'm an idiot. Like, I can do anything stupid.
And like, just like that, the tire broke, like you heard a little chirp, and then it grabbed, and then the truck just does this because it's hooking so hard.
It just pulls you right back in line, man. This is, watching this thing launch at the track, I accounted it to the slicks. Like, I really was one of those guys who was like, yeah, he's got slicks on it. He did a good burnout. They're hooking up. You know, like, it was such a nasty launch to see. However, like on the street with street tires, it feels the same, man. It feels like it doesn't have like, okay, in the Scottsdale, you remember like you would hit that throttle and you would feel that whole truck drop back on those leaf springs, right? Like,
this is a really
feel
good
it
job.
sag.
It allows it to drop, to let the back end sit down and just pull, and your momentum goes forward. Like, one of the guys at the shop, we had taken this truck out on like an 85-degree day in the summer, and we took it out on one of the back roads and just got on it. Brett was like, hey, take the keys, run it, tell me what you think. And that's what I was talking about. It felt like the ground was breaking, you know? Like this rear end's taking some beating because there is no give. It just goes.
It's eating the pavement.
It's eating. She's a pavement eater. Pavement eater.
Oh, I can't even think of how you drive this truck angry. Like, to be honest with you, like,
You can't.
I could never have road rage in this truck. I could never swear at another driver. Like, every time I hit the throttle, it literally just plasters a smile on my face.
And what's really cool too, I want to point out, is like that truck just now, that pull, you were 30, 35%.
Nothing.
No smoke.
Yeah.
So when I talk about streetability, it's not only spool up, but it's talking about smoke output. Does the truck bellow smoke when you full floor it from a standstill? Yes. You'll see in the video when Bret was at the track. Tune 5, max effort, going down the track, little bit of smoke down low, it all cleared up the majority of the way down the track.
Yep.
Same on the street, you know, we are running in Tune 4 right now. We are aggressively driving the truck. And if you're light on the throttle, you know,
Like
again,
that,
40%,
nothing.
35%, there is nothing. You have to really get aggressive to make the truck smoke.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely correct. Phenomenal job. It's such smooth power transition from light to heavy throttle too. It's not like you were talking about with like those big turbos where you're waiting,
Yep.
and it hits,
And it
and
hits
you're
and
not
then-
expecting it,
Yep.
you know? This just, again, that pedal just feels like it's endless. Like I could never run out of floor space, you know? There's no other way to describe it.
A home run across the board.
Yeah. And as I'm doing some of these, we're on some back roads here, so we're on some short straights and then some quick turns, and kind of trying to give it that full mix of driving for you guys to let you kind of see this is how it responds. I'm way harder on the throttle now. This thing, I literally can't get to the floor. I talk so long, and it takes me so long to get a sentence out because
You know what
it
it
is
feels like?
just exhilarating.
You know what it feels like when an airplane takes off?
Yes!
And it starts going and then it slowly goes up. That's what this thing feels like. It just goes.
Oh my God.
We're going to label the Tune 5 to the moon. That's what we're going to label Tune 5.
Oh, if it sounds like a jet and feels like a jet, are
It's
you
a
in a
jet.
jet? Like,
It's a jet.
problems. What are the problems with this truck, Chris?
I
What's
wouldn't
the
tow with it.
drawbacks?
I wouldn't tow with it.
I would
No.
not tow with this. No.
That's not what it was designed to do. Paul's getting happy. Paul is loving it.
I don't know if you guys will pick up the audio of the sound of the truck or the whistles in the podcast version of this. I certainly hope we get it in
The
the
precision
video.
charger, once it lights, game fucking over, man. It is a unique sound, to say the least.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But let's talk about other shortcomings, right? It's a regular cab.
It's a regular
It's a
cab.
short bed. I mean, you can't put much in there, so if you owned a landscape company, it probably wouldn't be the best thing for you.
This is not a work truck.
Nope.
Not a work truck. Yeah, I wouldn't tow with it. You have very little cab space. The half cage it is a little awkward to get in and out of.
As you guys can tell, I'm a little round, so you know it's one of those things you gotta maneuver.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm
And you're
even getting
10
to that
feet
age
tall.
where
Yeah.
I gotta stretch. Bret's like fucking 7 feet tall, and
Yeah,
he
he
fits
makes you look
inside
like
the
a
cab.
midget.
He does.
When I talk to Bret, I gotta go like this. I gotta look up.
Straight looking up. Yeah, it's so like those little things. Like, are you thinking about doing one of these builds? Is it a practical daily driver for you? Probably not.
No.
Like the most average, normal person out there, no, you probably don't want to build
I mean,
this for your daily
Let's
drive.
point a couple things out here after you get on it. Jesus. Okay.
Fuck yeah.
And there's a hill up here. Let's just hit it. So a couple things I want to point out. You're not going to build a truck like this overnight. This took Bret a couple years. Granted, he's a perfectionist, but I would say overall, I mean, this is a year-out build, I would say.
Minimum.
This is not a daily driver. You don't want to tow with this. It's a fun toy, right?
Yeah.
And let's talk about dollar amounts. What would it cost on average to duplicate something like this?
A lot. The bigger number than I think at least most of the guys that I talk to want to put out
Yeah.
there. Now, if you're doing it at home and you can shorten a frame at home and you can source a bed, let's not even throw paint into it because he's got an advantage there, right? So throw the bodywork out that like Bret obviously had an upper hand in doing.
I mean, I just want to, where I'm going with this is an expensive build. You know, this is a unique one-off. Yes, there's guys out there that have two-wheel drive shorty conversions, still running leaf springs. There's guys out there that have a four-link suspension, okay? There's guys out there with four-wheel drive regular cabs or crew cabs that have built motors. But Bret trusted us
Yeah.
to take out a unique, almost a one-of-a-kind vehicle.
I have not seen anybody else in this
Would you do that?
horsepower range.
Would you do that?
I wouldn't give you my
No,
truck.
fuck
I wouldn't
no,
give you
I wouldn't give
you my wife's Nissan. Get out of here. I've done these videos with you.
That was insulting.
And the whole time, I just want to point out, we have definitely only driven the speed limit.
We're in Mexico. We are in Mexico. God, we should go find a street race.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Brett wouldn't mind.
No. Busted by the cops. Beat a Z06.
No, this is definitely been a lot of fun. I can't say, how happy we are to be able to get a chance or an opportunity to drive this truck.
We're pretty lucky.
Just to bang around in this thing. Really, usually, Chris, you and I are so used to interviewing guys and talking about their trucks. It was nice to let Rich interview somebody, and we went out and got to drive it.
He did the legwork. We got to skip out of work an hour early and have fun.
And,
home run.
Literally just go out and have fun. I
With how
do want to
lucky
say,
I'm going to go to the casino.
I do want to say thank you to our sponsors for making this show possible. Thank you to our listeners and all of our viewers. Without you guys, we wouldn't have the sponsors, and without the sponsors, this episode would have never happened.
I mean, and another shout out regarding the sponsors. This is a true testament. Whirly Custom Fab, Exergy, they've had their hands in this build.
Absolutely.
This truck has been at Whirly's before. Exergy, multiple sets of their injectors and pumps have been on this truck. So thank you to you guys, and I know Brett really appreciates it as well.
Absolutely. Parts have been sourced for Alligator, from Alligator for this truck. So our sponsors are directly involved in this build as well. It has been an absolute pleasure to drive this thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Paul Wilson.
And I'm Chris Emhke.
Have a great night.
Calibrated Power Solutions, the leading North American developer of clean diesel power and home of DuramaxTuner.com, is the proud sponsor of the Diesel Performance Podcast. Calibrated Power develops emissions-equipped calibrations for a wide variety of diesel powertrains, including the Duramax, Cummins, Jeep, John Deere, and many more. For more information and the best customer service in the industry, check out calibratedpower.com or call 815-568-7920. That's 815-568-7920. If you'd like to contact the Diesel Performance Podcast, send us a message through Facebook or email paul@duramaxtuner.com or chris@cehmke@duramaxtuner.com. You could also reach him by phone. Chris's extension is 2121, Paul's is 2122.